Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Ghana Ganatam Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Pranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Praptasya Kalyana Gunana Vasya Vande Gora Shri Charanara Vrindam Praptasya Kalyana Gunana Vasya Vande Gora Shri Charanara Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Charanara Vrindam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Sena Romanchakam Pasru Taranga Vajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shri Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Shingara Tanama Dirama Janado Juktasya Bhaktamsya Neyunjatapi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Chaturvedha Shri Bhagavat Prasadam Swatana Triptan Hari Bhakta Shanghan Chaturvedha Shri Bhagavat Prasadam Swatana Triptan Hari Bhakta Shanghan Kritva Triptim Bhajata Shadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shiradikama Vabayara Para Madhura Leela Gunarupa Namna Shiradikama Vabayara Para Madhura Leela Pratikshana Swa Dhanalupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Pratikshana Swa Dhanalupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Ne Kunjayuno Rati Keli Siddhai Jajali Bheri Jukti Apekshaniya Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddhai Jajali Bheri Jukti Tatratidakyat Ativalabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaro Vrindam Tatratidakyat Ativalabhasya Vande Guru Sakyadharitna Samastashrashri Uktastatha Bhavyataiva Sadhvi Sakyadharitna Kintu Prabhoja Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaro Vrindam Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasadam Nagati Kutapi Yasya Prasada Jayam Stuvam Stasya Yashastrin Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaro Vrindam Yashastrin Sandhyam Jayam Stuvam Tasya Yashastrin Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaro Vrindam Jayam Stuvam Tasya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunavadi Pachatya Dishatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunavadi Pachatya Dishata Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hariyaraye Namah Krishna Jadavaye Namah Jadavaye Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopal Govindaram Shimadhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghuna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Radha Nila Madhava Radhe Radhe Radha Nila Radha Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadrama Jaya Sudarshan Chakra Baladeva Subhadrama Jaya Sitaram 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 Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Pramanandi Hari Haribo Jai Om Vishnu Para Paramsa Prabhajatacharya Ashtutar Sarasishimad Iskon Pratishta Bibiti Samstapakacharya Vaishnava Siramani Gaura Priyajana Krishna Prema Bhakti Datta Patita Pavana His Divine Grace Abhay Charavina Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai Shri Gaurya Guru Varga Patita Udhari Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Guna Sadguru Swami Prabhu Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai Jayananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Garadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai Jai Paramadayal Se Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Prema Nama Sankirtaneka Janaka Prema Purushottama Shri Sachinandan Shriman Gauranga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaur Hari Mahavrana Avatar Ki Jai Golokera Pramadhan Harinam Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai Yoga Dharma Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Ki Jai Brihat Nidanga Transcendental Book Distribution Seva Ki Jai Shishya Radha Krishna Gop Gupna Radha Kund Syama Kund Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Prajabhim Vrindavan Mathurdham Ki Jai Fellowship Shishya Radha Nilamadhava Ki Jai Shri Maya Punabadvip Eka Chakradham Ki Jai Parama Karuna Shishri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Purushottama Ketra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Swami Baladev Prabhu Srimati Subhadra Devi Sudarshan Chakra Bhagavan Ki Jai भक्ति सर्व विघ्न विनाशना कनु श्रृंगरे भगवान की जय। जय गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। बोलो श्री मथुरा धारानी की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौरी प्रमानंदे हरि बोल। All glories to the Assembly bodies. All glories to the Assembly bodies. All glories to the Assembly bodies. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga Hari Bol.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Praladala Dadaine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye.
Jaya Shilatanka.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha.
Yato yato ya.
Bahe Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha.
Baye Nishinga, Baye Nishinga.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Tava Kara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Sarahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Baba Kara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanabhinga Keshavadita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev.
Jaya Nishingare, Jaya Nishingare, Nishingare, Jaya Nishingare.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Bhakti Pata Sarva Vigna Vinashana Kanishingare Bhagavan ki jai. Jai Bhakta Shrestha Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Nitai Gauri Pramanande. वृंदाई तुलसी देवाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादि देवी सत्य बताए नमो नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी देवाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादि देवी सत्य बताए नमो नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी देवाई प्रिय के सब सत्य कृष्ण भक्ति प्रादि देवी सत्य बताए नमो नमः। जय श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। Do you want to sing Tulsi? Do you want to sing Tulsi? Okay. What did you want to sing Tulsi?
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha
Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha
Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Yeya Bhilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pavam Heya Vilasi
Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Yeya Bhilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pava Heya Vilasi
ये तुम्हार शरण लोय तारा वंश पूर्ण होय
ये तुम्हारा शरणना तारा वंशा पूर्णा
कृपा कोरी करो तारे वृंदावन वासी
तुम्हें कृपा करे करतारे वृंदावन वासी
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रियासी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
मोराये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो बस
मोरा विलास कुंज दियोवा
नयने हेरी बो सदा जुगल रूप रासी
अमिनायने रे बसदा जुगल रूप रासी
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रिय प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
ये निवेदन धरो सखीरनुगत करो सेवा सेवा अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी
सेवा करो निज दासी
दीन कृष्ण दासे रोए ये न मोरा होय
दीन कृष्ण दास कहे न मोरा
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा इन बासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदाय नवासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा इन बासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदाय नवासी
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणक्षन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
जानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणशन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
जानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
जानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
जय वृंदे देवी जय वृंदे देवी जय वृंदे देवी
जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी
जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी
जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी
नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
वृंदे देवी तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय
जय श्री वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव सत्य Vishnu Bhakti Pradeve Sattvatai Namo Namah. Brindai Tulasi Debai Priyai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pradeve Sattvatai Namo Namah. Brindai Tulasi Debai Priyai Kesava Satya Krishna Bhakti Pradeve Sattvatai Namo Namah. Jai Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. O Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you as wishes fulfilled, bestow your mercy upon him, you make him resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you also grant me a residence in pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Thus, within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Kavitamis of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always sing in love with Shri Radha and Govinda. Shri Mati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. There are 10 offenses in matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord that should be avoided. They are as follows. 1. To blaspheme devotees who dedicate a life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider names of demigods and Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the very scriptures or scriptures in pursuance of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities of Vedas as fruitive activity Karma Kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person about the glories of holy name. And 10. To not have complete faith in chanting the holy names and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Jai Bancha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sikhastakam Ki Jai. Chaito Darpanama Janam Bhavamada Vagni Nirvapanam Shreyakari Vachandrika Vitaranam Vidya Badhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shradanam Sarvatmasnam Parampara Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Baudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pitanyamitta Smarane Nakala Ita Drishitava Kripaya Bhagavan Mamapi Durdhaivam Idrishamya Janinanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amani Namanadena Kitaniya Sadari Na Dhanam Na Janam Na Sundarim kavitam vajagarishakamaye mama janmani janmanishari bhavata bhaktirahituki tvai ainandatanujakinkaram paritamam vrishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pankaja stita dhuli sadrisam vichintaya nayanam galorashudharaya vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira pulakairichitam vapukada tava nama grahane bhavishyati jugaitam nimishenam chakyusha pravasaitam sunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name aslishavapādaratam pinashtumam adarshnan marmahatam karotu va jatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato matpranatastu saivana paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Kyastakam Ki Jai Namo Mahavarannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tvishe Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunnavadi Pachatyari Satarine. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart with the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditioned life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large because its praise raised the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govind. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself a lower than straw on the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth to birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I am fallen in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and will the hairs of my body stand on the end of the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he sure remains so, even if Sandra is roughly by his embrace, or make me broken-hearted but not present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Kyastakam Ki Jai. Mangala Charan, Guru Pranam, Shri Guru Vandan. Om Magyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakchurun Militam Jena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jota Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vintam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devim Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Patsatyari Satarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Videvi Daitaya Kripabdvaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurjojala Premadhya Shirupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravane Shimurtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Posidanta Dantarine Namagora Kishoraya Sakchavera Murthaye Vipralambhara Sambhode Panabhujayate Nama Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchit Anandanamine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumitsvam Nirdesha Sarjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhuma Sri Jagannatayate Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavarannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnayo Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattamakam Krishna Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataro Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Suratopango Mama Mandamatir Gatir Masarvasya Parambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyavindaranya Kalpadumadha Shmara Nagara Shingasanastu Shmaradha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtali Visheva Manushmarami Shman Rasara Sarambi Vamshvata Tatastita Karshan Venu Swanar Gopir Gopinata Shri Stuna Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhi Vrindavanishwari Vrusavano Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Guru Vandan Mangala Charan Ki Jai Bo.
Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj Ki Jai. So we're continuing our discussion of the wonderful lecture Prabhupada gave on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.41. And this is a very comprehensive presentation by Prabhupada of his goals that he has set for ISKCON, or the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And one of the primary goals is not only chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in worshiping the deities and taking initiation and promising to follow the 4 regulative principles and also to do the 4 regulative activities that a devotee should do. The 4 regulative principles are 4 things we should never do, and then there are the 4 things that we should always do. And then besides that, going out on Sankirtan and distributing Prabhupada's and uniquely Prabhupada's books, nobody else's books, and also engaging in the deity worship of the Lord. So all these things are things that he required to become a devotee in ISKCON. But there are some other things also that Prabhupada mentioned, and he mentions this very emphatically in this lecture, and he says that what kind of body I shall accept, that is stated in the Shastras. Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta, Bhagavad Gita 14.18. Prabhupada says, read Bhagavad Gita. These things are there. Those who are in the modes of goodness means avoiding these four principles of sinful life: meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication. Even if you do not become a pure devotee of the Lord, if you follow these principles, the regulative principles, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication, then you remain in goodness. And if you remain in goodness, then your next life is in the higher planetary systems, even not going back to home or back to Godhead, but you'll get that opportunity. So everything is there. We have to utilize our intelligence. This life is meant for that. But if we waste our life, misuse this opportunity of human life just to live like cats and dogs, ahara nidya, in other words, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then we are spoiling our life. So this eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, this is not spiritual life. This is animal life. So then what is spiritual life then? Spiritual life is limiting the eating, sleeping, mating, and defending by following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, and then having time and mental stability to develop knowledge and detachment by regular hearing, regular coming to the class, regular hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so that we can understand who is Krishna, what is our relationship with him, what are his unique qualities, and what are his opulences, and what are his preferences, and what are his instructions for us. So a person who has time, and you have to make that time. We have the time, but we waste most of our time in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But if we make the time by controlling our senses and mind and engaging them in this hearing process, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the 9 recommended types of devotional service. But the first 3 are utmost importance. Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and repeating what you've heard about Lord Vishnu or Krishna, and then Smaranam. Then you will be able to remember, and your mind will become very sharp, because no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, including coffee and tea. And then regularly taking part in the classes. Every morning at 6:30 we have a class. If you missed it, it's okay. You can see it. It's on YouTube. It's on our own webpage, ISKCON, or the Vedic Cultural Center webpage. You'll be able to, it's on our Facebook page, so it's on different venues, so you can hear these classes. Now, what is a class? A class is not a person's personal opinion. It's not about a person like myself. It's about Prabhupada's instructions about Krishna. That's what a class is. It's not telling stories and jokes and things like that, and everybody laughs, and they think, oh, this was a very good class. I was laughing through the whole class. He was telling so many jokes. No, that's not a class. Class is hearing Prabhupada's explanation and the Acharya's explanation of who Krishna is, what your relationship with Krishna is, how you can approach Krishna, and so forth. That is a class. And it's very serious, and it's full of nectar. And it'll make you a exceptional person if you hear regularly and repeat and then remember and then follow. Okay, so coming to the mode of goodness, well, that's what we've explained in these 4 panels, how you can come to the mode of goodness. And more than that, how you can be pummeled up, or you can become higher than the mode of goodness and come to transcendental goodness. Then you actually begin devotional service. And even the mode of goodness is a supernatural force, just like you have sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are 3 supernatural forces that control our activities. We are in illusion thinking that we are the controller. We're not the controller. We're being controlled. And how do we know that? Well, you have to eat something and drink something. As soon as you eat and drink, you have to pee and you have to go to the toilet. Can you stop eating? Can you stop going to the toilet and peeing and passing stool? What do you say? Can you stop it, Prabhu? That means you're forced, you see. And you can choose what you want to eat, right? You want to eat some pork chops or this thing or that thing, okay. But you're forced to eat, and you're forced to pee and go to the toilet, right? You're forced to breathe. Can you stop breathing, Prabhu? No. You're forced to breathe. Inhale, exhale. You know how many breaths you take a day? 22,000. Did you know that? Every human being takes 22,000 inhales and exhales a day. That's a huge number. Did you know that, Prabhu? Huh? No. Now you know it. Look it up on the internet. How many breaths, how many inhales and exhales do we do a day? Does a human being do? See, there's so many things we don't understand about this body. Why? Because you're not in control of the body. That's why. You think you're in control of the body, but you're not. Then we're also forced to work, and we're forced to sleep. Can you give up? Huh? 22,000. You know how many? You know, I don't even think you can count the 22,000, right? But yet you're breathing in and out 22,000 times a day. It's unbelievable, right? But true. So there's many things we don't understand about the body. There are many things we have wrong in our mind. We think we're controlling this body. We're not controlling anything. We're controlling zip, nada, nothing. Everything is controlled by the laws of material nature, or dharma. But we do have some control. We're forced to eat, but you're not forced to eat meat. If you listen to Krishna consciousness, then you'll stop eating meat and fish and eggs and chicken and all that junk, right? And garlic and onion. And people say, ooh, why garlic and onion? Garlic is good for you. It's good for your heart. And onion is also good for you. Yeah, it's good if you like to be rajasic and tamasic. If you want to be in a mode of passion and ignorance, it's very good for that, right? But if you want to come to the mode of goodness, you have to give it up. But we want to come to the mode of goodness because it's only in the mode of goodness that you can begin to understand Krishna consciousness. Not that you can understand everything. You only begin by being in the mode of goodness, and and we're never completely in the mode of goodness in the material world until we become completely Krishna conscious. So when we're sleeping, we're in the mode of ignorance. When we wake up, we gradually go into the mode of passion. And once we're there, and we start, drinking coffee or beer or something, we get into the mode of ignorance, right? So we see how in one day we're mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and then a little bit of goodness, but mostly passion and ignorance. So these modes are fluctuating during the day. So we might do something that's good, and so that's to our credit. But even the mode of goodness is entangling. Even the mode of goodness keeps us in the material world. It's when we come to transcendental goodness that we start to become liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and we really begin to understand Krishna. So, now it says, but these rascals, they do not know, they do not believe that there is a next life. As I have told you many times, that Professor Kotovsky in Russia, he said, Swamiji, after this body's finished, everything is finished. Just see, Prabhupada says. He's a big professor. He's saying like that. And the scientists also. They have no knowledge. Still, they're passing as scientists, philosophers, and misleading persons. This is our greatest grief. Therefore, I'm requesting you all, just make a plan to face these rascals and defeat them. They are misleading the whole human society. Now the Krishna consciousness movement should take this turn. They may not think that these boys and girls, they meaning the scientists and the philosophers and so forth, that these boys and girls, so-called Krishnas, they are sentimentalists, chanting and dancing. That is, of course, the ultimate goal, but they do not understand. They think that we are simply sentimental. We are the greatest scientists. We are the greatest philosophers. We are the greatest humanitarians. They should know that. Okay, so we discussed this yesterday, but now we're going to discuss it more and then go further. Prabhupada is saying something very, very revolutionary here. He's saying that we should prepare ourselves to not only to defeat all these phony scientists and philosophers and politicians and so-called incarnations of God and all these phonies that are ruining people's lives by giving them misinformation. Whoa, this is a big thing. I remember I was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada once, and he was lampooning. That means he was criticizing the scientists. Now, I had just, about a year before that, graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League College, and after about 16 years of education, and I was just stunned. And I said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I have never heard anybody criticize the scientists like you just did. And Prabhupada said, yes, I can do this. He said, and he pointed his finger at me. He said, do you know how I can do this? I said, no. He said, because I know Krishna is behind everything. I know this. I know this. I know this. Therefore, I can do it. Right? So, why are we coming to class? We want to learn that Krishna is behind everything. Because the scientists don't know that. They reject it. The philosophers don't know that. They also reject, or else they give a misleading idea. Just like we've read about Socrates and Plato, right? And so many other philosophers. They're misleading people. They don't know themselves who is behind. And then the politicians, they're also misleading people. They don't know who's behind everything. They think they're behind everything, but they're not. They're being controlled also. So either we're controlled by Krishna or we're controlled by Maya. As soon as we do nonsense, we're controlled by Maya. Therefore, the politicians, they always make promises that, oh, everything's going to get better. You just vote for us, and you'll get this, and you'll get that, and everything will be free, and you'll be happy. But it never works. They don't even keep their promises, let alone make people happy. They make people more miserable. Right? Okay, so here Prabhupada is saying that all these rascals, they don't believe that there is a next life. And these are big people, scientists, philosophers, and IT people and rich people and all these politicians, and then there's incarnations of God. They say, oh, no, yes, there is a God. It's me. What? You're passing stool and urine and you say you're God? What are you talking about? And your stool stinks, right? This is the way you can tell if a person is God or not. When Krishna was present in his form, in his incarnation as Rishabhadev, he, at one point, was walking around naked. And he would pass stool and urine. But his stool was like a rose. It was very fragrant. Right? Now you tell me, what does the stool of these rascals, scientists, philosophers, so-called incarnations of God, what does their stool smell like? What do you think? Does it smell like a rose? That means they're not God. You see? So there are many ways you can find out if someone's, if someone said, I'm God, you say, okay, well, can you pass stool right here, right now, so I can smell it? I said, what, are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy. This is the litmus test, whether you're God or not. God's stool smells like a rose. I want to see what yours smells like. He said, what, are you crazy? I'm not going to do that. That means you're not God. You see, now you have an absolute test to find out if someone is God or not. Because Rishabhadev, you can look it up in the Bhagavatam, his stool was actually fragrant. Right? Okay, so now Prabhupada's saying, look, they don't believe there's a next life. Therefore, they think they're free to do anything in this life and get away with it. Right? So, therefore, Prabhupada is saying, therefore, I am requesting you, all of you, just make a plan to face these rascals and defeat them. They are misleading the whole human society. Now, the Krishna consciousness movement should take this turn. In other words, this should be a new direction that we should take. They may not think that you boys and girls, also known as the Krishnas, they should not think that you are sentimentalists, just dancing and chanting. That is, of course, the ultimate goal. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Dance, chant, take prasadam, jump up and down. Of course. But they do not understand. They think that we are simply sentimentalists. We are the greatest scientists. We are the greatest philosophers. We are the greatest humanitarians. They should know that. Well, how are we going to make them, all these nonsense people, convinced that we are the greatest humanitarians, philosophers, and scientists? Prabhupada continues. So Krishna has got two businesses. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam. Bhagavad Gita 4.8. Two businesses. He is giving protection to saintly people or sadhus or brahmanas and to the devotees, just like Krishna is giving protection to the Pandavas, to the Vrishnis, because they are devotees. And similarly, he's killing Kamsa, Agasura, and Bakasura. I think his killing business was major business. In other words, he was doing more killing than protecting when he came in his form as Krishna. Now compare Krishna's coming to Lord Chaitanya's coming, Lord Chaitanya is the combination of Radha and Krishna. So he was not killing anyone. But he was a killer. He was killing people's desire for sense gratification. That is a cultural killing. That's what we should become killers, every one of us. We should learn to culturally kill people. Kill their demoniac culture and replace it with pure Krishna consciousness culture. That's the type of killing we should do. And Prabhupada explains this. He says, from the life of Krishna, we see in the Krishna book. So, he was killing Kamsa, Agasura, Bakasura. I think his killing business was a major business than protection. From the life of Krishna, we see in the Krishna book So if you take statistics, how much time he devoted to killing and how much time he devoted for protecting, we shall see that he devoted more time for killing. You see? So that is also Krishna's business. So those who are Krishna conscious, killing, we don't mean that you kill by taking a weapon. That is not possible in this age. Neither you have got the strength. If you kill, then you will be killed also. Not that. But there are two kinds of killing or victory. By logic, by reason, by education, you can kill their demoniac propensities. That is also killing. If one is demon, and if you can turn that demon into a devotee by your logic, by your arguments, by your preaching, then that means he's killed. His demoniac principle is killed. Now he's a saintly person. That is also killing. In Kali Yuga, they're already very poverty-stricken, poor, so many people. This physical killing is too much for them. There's too much of it. It's driving people crazy. Look what's happening, in Russia and Ukraine and this country and that country. As soon as one war stops, another war starts. They haven't stopped, right? The United Nations have not stopped war. In fact, they probably have increased it. Right? So they should be killed by argument, reason, and scientific proposition. This should be one of the propaganda programs of the Krishna consciousness movement, because these people, the so-called scientists and philosophers, are misleading in the sense that they have no information that everything is coming out from life. They are proposing that everything is coming from dead matter. Their basic principle, the original cause. They find out some material adjustment. The other day, our devotee in the California University, one big man, philosopher, scientist came. He was proposing the same thing, that everything comes from matter. So our Swarup Damodar Prabhu, or Maharaj, proposed that, sir, if we supply you all the ingredients, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, etc., 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 we'll give them all to you for free. Can you produce life? He said, I do not know. He said, I do not know. And Prabhupada said, you see, he's in the category of I do not know, and he's still a professor. He's a scientist. How he can be scientist if he does not know? If he's in the list of I do not know, how can he be a teacher? This is cheating. A teacher can be in the list of cheater if he knows, a list of teacher if he does. How can he be in the list of teacher if he doesn't know? Yes, I know. That's a teacher. If he says, I do not know, then what kind of teacher is he? He's a rascal, a cheater. One must teach on the seat of a cheater if he knows. One must sit and hear from a teacher if he knows things as they are. So that is going on. One does not know things as they are, still they have become teacher. That is the defect of modern civilization, and he's absolutely right, 100%. So if you send your kids to be educated by these rascals, you are also a rascal, because you're submitting your kid to be poisoned by these nonsense people. This is what Prabhupada is saying. So you should take this very seriously. This is not a joke. Everyone says, oh, Harival is always saying, don't send your kids to school. What do you mean don't send your kids to school? How are they going to get educated? Yeah, they're going to get educated. They're going to educate to become demons. You want that education? You're saying, no, but we're educating, they come to the temple. What? They only come to the temple a little bit, but they're all day long in the school. So what do you think is going to happen with them in school all day long? Right? Anyway, so a devotee should know what is Krishna. However, the nonsense people, they simply portray Krishna as embracing Radharani. That's all. And that is also very obnoxious. These rascals, they take it that Krishna's dealings with Radharani are ordinary boys and girls dealings. You know, just like you see these Rajasthani, what do you call them, paintings. There's all these, Krishna and Radha embracing each other, blah, 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 as if they're ordinary children, ordinary boy-girl relationship. They don't understand such pictures should be avoided. Did you hear this before? That's why you should come to class. And I'm not saying it. Prabhupada is saying it, right? You should understand what Prabhupada taught, how he was teaching. See? These Rajasthani so-called, depictions of Krishna with the gopis and Radharani, most of them are bogus. Well, that's why Prabhupada, he had artists, devotee artists, and he had to instruct them how to portray Krishna with the gopis and Radharani and so forth. So he's criticizing now big time these Rajasthani, what do you call those paintings? I forget the name. Anyway, they're nonsense. They portray Krishna as some ordinary boy and girl relationship with Radharani. Let there be one picture, how Krishna is controlling the whole universe. That picture should be there. Whoa. That picture was wanted, not these cheap pictures imitating our rubbish behavior with boys and girls. These pictures we do not want. We want picture how Krishna is controller, how he's controlling the universal affairs. Vishvesha, Visvatman. Atman means the living force. The living force must be there. Unless there is living force within this body, as this body cannot move without it, it cannot work nicely. Similarly, within this universe, this cosmic manifestation, there is a living force. Lord Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, or Paramatma. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam, Hridde Se Rajuna Tistati, Bhagavad Gita 18.61. Therefore, he's Vishvatman. We should know, okay, what does Vishvatman mean? Well, Vishva means the entire universe, and Atman means the moving force of it. Right? And who's that Atman? That is Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is in the heart of every living entity and in every atom of the universe. That's why it works. That's why it's functioning in a predictable way. How is it that they can tell you what time exactly the sun is going to rise today, and what time the sun is going to set and the moon is going to rise? How are they doing that? How can they tell you when the seasons are going to change? How can they tell you whether the weather forecast, right? All these things, well, the weather forecast, sometimes they get it wrong, but they don't get wrong the eclipses of the moon or eclipse of the sun. They don't get wrong the changing of the seasons. They don't get wrong when the sun's going to rise and set, when the moon is going to rise and set. They don't get those things wrong. Why? Because all these universal planets are going in specific orbits, and they're not changing. They're not chaotic. Right? So who organized that? Oh, nobody organized it. It just happened because of the Big Bang. That's a big piece of stool, that philosophy of the Big Bang. It's nonsense. Everything they do, like this carpet, did it happen by a Big Bang? Did it happen by itself? That no intelligent person made this thing? No. Everything you see in this room, everything you see outside, the cars, the building, they're all made by intelligent people. Or your cell phone that you have here, right? And your television, your radio, did it all just fall out of the sky and come together? No. It all happened because of intelligent people. And now they say, those so-called most intelligent people, Einstein and this Stein and that Stein, they say it all happened by accident. What? What do you mean it happened by accident? Everything else in your life happened by intelligence, and you're saying the whole universe happened by accident? What kind of nonsense is that? Don't you understand? This is complete nonsense. Right? Do they teach you that in school? Do they teach the Big Bang in school?
Not yet. I don't know.
Oh, gee, you're missing it. And okay, well, you went to school, right? Did they teach it to you in school? In all the schooling you went to in India, they never talked about Big Bang. Huh? Why are you saying they didn't teach you Big Bang? Were you sleeping during the class? Or what? You must have flunked the test. How did the universe start? I don't know. Yeah, good thing you slept through the class. Okay. Yeah, they teach it in school like it's science. It's not science, it's junk. What? You show me one thing that is organized and predictable that happened by itself. Show me one thing. Say, show me an experiment how things just happen by themselves without any intelligent person behind it. See, this is nonsense, but that they're teaching it to you like it's science. Do you accept that? Did you learn about Big Bang, Prabhu? Or did you sleep? No, come on. You skipped the class. Did they teach you or not?
Not in the high school. I remember much from the high school.
You were sleeping through high school, okay. What do you remember from college?
From college, it's totally chemical engineering, fluid mechanics, transport phenomena, thermodynamics, not related to Big Bang theory.
No, wait, okay, yeah. So you were studying what's called the hard sciences. You didn't progress to the junk science part. You know, like nuclear physicist. That's all junk, right? Yeah. What is it?
Even for India, right? They always talk about how Himalayas were formed. Do you remember in geography? Don't go to physics. They say that
Don't
they
think
were
so.
all together and then all continents separated.
Okay, so you only had the hard sciences, right? So did they ever talk about God in the hard sciences? What does that mean? Did they ever say, you know, after death there's life? Yeah. You see, so that is selective. Selective. They didn't mention anything about God. So now let me ask you a question. There were a lot of the people in your class, right? Did any of them believe in God?
I grew up in, I studied my college in India. They had the God exists, but only in the temples. You just go and pray, not to the deeper understanding of.
Well, no, wait a minute. Did they actually believe in God? Were there any atheists in your class?
Actually, we didn't in my college we didn't discuss about God at all.
What?
4 years we did not even talk about God at all.
No, but how about the students? What were they doing? What did they talk about?
Movies and skipping the classes.
What?
Skipping the classes.
Sleeping in the class, yeah.
Skipping.
Skipping.
Yeah, and getting the minimum attendance.
Getting what?
Getting minimum attendance
Minimum attendance, okay.
and passing the exams.
Did they
and
cheat to pass the exam?
Yes. They develop rapport with the professors, try to get some hints where what questions they're going to cover. So all like pretending to live the life, finish the college. So that was the status of
That was the
education.
culture. That was the
That
culture.
was the culture. It probably it is even worse now.
It's even worse now, okay. That's because there was nothing about God. Did they talk about, well, after I die, I want to go to Vaikuntha?
Yeah, the kids are so attached to bikes. The culture is the bikes. And one person, the entire maybe college may have car, then everybody attracted to the person who has car, and then eating biryanis, drinks,
Would they
movies.
eat meat?
Yes, meat.
Anybody
Big
eats
time.
meat, anybody eats meat is a demon. Right. Okay, so Prabhupada continues. He says, Vishvesha Vishvatman, Atman, the living force. The living force must be there. Unless there is living force within this body, as this body cannot move, cannot work nicely. Similarly, within this universe, the cosmic manifestation, there is a living force. Lord Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, or Paramatma, Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Hridde Se Rajuna Tishtati. Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 61st verse. Therefore, he is Vishvatman. He is the soul or the living force of the whole universe. Vishva means universe, Atman means the living force that's moving the universe. We should know that how this world is moving, how this universe is acting. But these rascals do not know. They should learn from this Bhagavata. Vishvatman, Vishvesha, Vishvamurte, and his manifestation, the universal form. Just like Krishna exhibited before Arjuna, Arjuna wanted to see his universal form, and Krishna immediately showed him. Okay, so Vishvatman means the living force of the universe. Vishvesha means that he's the controller. Visha Isha, he's the controller, or Vishvesha, he's the controller of the universe. And Vishvamurti, he is the universal form that encompasses the whole universe. Everything is coming from him in this universal form that is accompanying the universe. Now, there's something very interesting in this, on that point. Prabhupada explains, and I'll go over this tomorrow in a lecture, how, did you ever know how the universal oceans, how the oceans have been formed? There's the Atlantic Ocean, there's Pacific Ocean. Most of the planet is water, right? Where did all that water come from? And what's it made of? H2O, right? You know this, right? H2O. Now, where did all the H come from, and where did all the O come from? There's a lot of it on this earth, right? Well, Prabhupada starts from the known to understand the unknown. Always remember it. Start from the known to understand. So in this lecture, he explained, I'm going to read it tomorrow. It's just an amazing lecture. He says that just like you sweat 1 ounce or 2 ounces of perspiration, possibly. Some people don't sweat. They're the ones that get sick all the time. But people that sweat, they usually don't get sick so easily because that sweat, that liquid, is emanating from the body, body heat. So he said, just like you can sweat 1 ounce or 2 ounces every day, so it's not hard to understand where all the water came from. It's from the universal Virat Rupa form of the Lord. We are all tiny human beings, but we sweat, right? And just imagine the universal form of Krishna as the Virat Rupa. When he sweats, it forms the oceans, you see? So it's not far-fetched. We are the microscopic example, and now we're seeing the macroscopic example, where the oceans came from, where all that hydrogen and oxygen came from. And by the way, do you know how to produce water from raw materials of hydrogen and oxygen? That's your homework. See, you should have not told me that you did the hard sciences in college. Now I'm going to give you hard science homework. I want you to find out how much it would cost, number one, to buy the materials. That is, you have to buy a tank of oxygen, you have to buy a tank of hydrogen, right? Be careful with the tank of hydrogen, it doesn't blow up, right? And then you have to get a closed tank in which you can make a vacuum. And you got to get, it has to be heated also. And you have to combine at a certain temperature. And something else, maybe you need some kind of a, what do you call that? What? Catalyst. You might need a catalyst, so they combine, and you end up with water. And tell me how much it would cost, how long it would take you to make it, and you'll probably only be able to make maybe a cup of water, right? But it costs money to do that, and it costs time and effort, and you need equipment. You can't just mix the hydrogen and oxygen together and it becomes water, right? You got to know how to do it. So I want to know. That's your homework for tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So now Prabhupada says, so this Vishvatman, Vishvesha, these are Krishna's opulences called vibhutis. Vibhuti means what? These are his opulences. These powerful things. He's the controller of the whole universe. He is the living force that's animating the universe. These are called vibhutis, his opulences, right? He has qualities and he has these opulences, right? So we have to learn what they are, right? And we will go over that. But in his original form, he is Krishna, 2 hands, playing on the flute. That is his original form. The universal form is causal. In other words, when Krishna manifests the universal Virat Rupa in the material world, that encompasses the whole universe, that is the source of everything in the material universe, that is causal. He is the original cause of everything. It's not Brahma who's causal. He's a secondary person. It's not this one or that one. It's Krishna who's the original cause of everything. Right? All right, so he says, the universal form is causal. Because Arjuna wanted to see, Arjuna was a devotee, so Krishna showed him that is not his actual form. It is a temporary form that he assumes for the material creation. His form is the 2-handed form, and he's always engaged in transcendental pastimes in the spiritual world. But he expands himself as the Vishnu forms and as the demigods, especially Brahma and Shiva, and as the universal form that encompasses everything in the universe. But he is not affected by it, nor is he attached to any of it. He's going on playing his flute, dancing with the gopis, playing leapfrog with the gopas, and just having fun, right? Because he's God. He doesn't have to do anything. He has no duty to perform. He may do it if he wants to, and he does. He'll sometimes come to the material world and manifest his transcendental pastimes, the same that are going on in the spiritual world, and others, or a few of them, not all of them, just a few of them, just to entice people to take an interest in him, and then he leaves. So Krishna is not bound to do anything. He's completely independent. So he says, this is not his actual form. Just like a person, he may dress himself as a king or something. You know, he might put on a Halloween costume or something, right? But that is not his real appearance, his appearance at home. So Krishna's real form is in Vrindavana, at home. That is his real form. And all other forms are expansions of his plenary portions. Plenary is a word that means absolute, complete. So all his expansions, most of them have complete, let's say, power as Krishna in his original form. Or they have one power completely, or they have all the powers completely. But they're never equal to Krishna in every way, because Krishna has 4 unique qualities that none of his expansions have. That's because he's the origin of everything. Okay, now we have to learn all these things. And all other forms are expansions of his plenary portions. Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha vedesa durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So this is a very important verse. Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 33rd verse. In the Brahma Samhita, anantarupam, he can expand himself in millions and millions of forms. Ananta means unending or infinite, and rupam means forms. But advaita, but he's still one. Now this is achintya beda abeda tattva philosophy, simultaneous and inconceivable oneness and difference, or oneness and multiplication. So he can expand millions of forms, but yet he's still one. He's not diminished in any way. No one else can emulate that. No one else can even come close to that. And it's inconceivable to us because we are so limited, but it's not inconceivable to Krishna. So unless we learn these things about God, we'll be in ignorance and we'll never be able to get free from the cycle of birth and death. These are things that we have to hear because there's no way of experimenting. We have no real knowledge of the spiritual world. But there is knowledge of the spiritual world, a lot of it. It's all in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But nobody's reading Srimad Bhagavatam. They're reading, Dog Man, right? So because of all the knowledge they get from Dog Man, they remain ignorant. They become a dog. But we want to switch the dog to God, right? So D-O-G backwards is G-O-D. See, so we want the G-O-D, not the D-O-G. Did you understand that? Can you repeat that?
Instead of dog, you spell it backwards, G-O-D, and then it spells God.
Yeah, actually, when you spell God backwards, it's dog. Now, is dog good or bad?
Bad.
Yeah, because if you follow the dog, you become bad. But if you follow God, then you become good. So we're here to follow God, not to follow dog. Do you see any dog here? Is there a dog? Are they allowed in the temple?
No.
No. Why? Because
they eat meat and they're ignorant.
yeah, that's pretty correct. Very good. Now, we don't hate dogs. I don't hate dogs, right? But I don't want to be a dog. So therefore, I want to meditate on Krishna, not on Dog Man. Why did they give you the book Dog Man? So you can meditate on dog. We give people Bhagavad Gita so they can meditate on God, Krishna, right?
Maharaj, now families consider dog is part of their life. One time the visitor brought the dog with them and they had to stop them there.
Very good. Did they get upset?
Maybe, but I conveyed gently.
Yeah. Well, in America, the dog is man's best friend, right? And the cow is man's best food. Now, what we want to do is to change that. That cow is the best friend and dog is the best meat. Why can't they eat dogs and cats? Why do they have to eat cows? Because they say, oh, dog meat is not good. Cat meat is not good. Why? They eat meat. But cow is good because they're vegetarian. What? You see, why don't they eat dogs? There are people that eat dogs and pigs, right? But a lot of people say, "Ew, I don't want to eat a dog." They're meat eaters. I want to eat cow. It's a vegetarian. You see how everything's mixed up? Everything's backwards nowadays.
Now it's even worse, Maharaj. It's not a best friend, it's a brother and sister now.
Who?
Dogs.
Dogs? Okay. Well, see, the ultimate is this. If you love the dog, you let it sleep with you in your bed. That way all the germs that come out of the anus of the dog spreads in your bed. Did you know that? They always, I mean, it's a dog, right? I mean, they can't control themselves. Just like even human beings sometimes can't control themselves. So if the dog sleeps with you, from his mouth and from his anus, all these, germs and disease type things and filth things are coming out in your bed, right? This one lady I know is a devotee. She invited me once to give a class in her house, And as soon as I entered it, the place smelled like a dog. So I said to her, "You have a dog?" She said, "Yeah, oh, it's such a wonderful dog." I said, "The whole house smells like a dog." She said, "Why did you say that?" I said, "Why did I say it? Because the whole house smells like a dog. He stinks." So I don't notice it. I said, "Of course you don't notice it. You got used to it, Whenever you have a dog in the house, see, I told her, that's why they have dog houses. Do you understand that? The dog house is outside. That's where the dog should sleep and eat. You should never let the dog in the house, right? "Oh, no, he sleeps in my bed with me."
Maharaj, I had worst experience.
Let's hear the worst experience. I thought I just said the worst experience. Good.
And it's close to our family, so they have pet. So I slept overnight, just myself.
You couldn't sleep.
And by the time I wake up in the morning, it's ass in front of my face.
The dog?
Yeah.
How did he get in your bed?
It sleeps in the bed. It's like I am occupying its territory.
Oh my God.
So I
You
got
got
upset,
the
but there's
mercy.
nothing I could do.
You got the ultimate mercy, right in your face.
Right in my face.
Whoa. And they're Hindus, right?
My own
What?
family.
In India, if you go back, like 50, 60 years, no one let a dog in their house. Now, you see all these Indians, they have dogs. And the Indian dogs, they all look the same. They all look the same. So the dog in the house with the Hindu is like healthy, right? And you go outside, he's the same dog as the ones outside, but the dogs outside, they look really, not very well. They're not taken care of, right? They're wild dogs. Huh? Oh, they're importing the big dogs, huh? Yeah. Okay. India, you cannot stop India. It's got to imitate the West in everything. If everyone in the West became Krishna conscious, maybe the Indians would all become Krishna conscious, right? That's our goal. All right, so, but he is one. And Achyuta means who never falls or who is infallible. So Krishna is infallible. So that verse says, Advaitam Achyutam Ananta Rupam, that he is Achyuta, he's infallible, and he's Advaita, always one, although he expands himself infinitely. Right? So, Ata Vishvesha Vishvatam Vishwamurte Swakuse Swakesu Me. Swaka means kinsman, own, your people. We are thinking, this is my own people. This is my own. Ato griha chetra sutapta vitar janasya moham ham viveti. This is moha, or illusion. How this illusion comes into existence. The illusion comes, first of all, there is natural affinity or attraction for man and woman. A man seeks after woman, and woman is seeking after man. That is in human society, also in bird society, also in animal society, everywhere. Even flies, insects, you'll see that one female is attached to the male. Male is attached. So this is beginning of material attachment. Then by attachment, when one male finds out another woman, or one finds out another man, or one woman finds a man, they unite. So this attachment becomes fixed up again, even stronger. Already there is attachment, and as soon as they are united, that attachment becomes more firm. Tayor mito hridaya grantim ahu. I have already got attachment, but when I am again united, actually, that attachment increases. Now, after the attachment increases to some degree, the next degree is to find out nice apartment to live together. That is another increase of attachment. Then we have got an apartment, and then we have to find out some means of earning money. Formerly, there were no factories. Everyone had to earn his livelihood by agriculture. Chetra, aho griha chetra. First of all, apartment must be maintained by working, by earning something. Artha chetra. Then when everything is settled up, now we must have a son or a daughter or a child. Yes, aho griha chetra sutapta. Then we must have some friends. That's the apta. Sutta means child. Who will come and eulogize me. Oh, you have such a nice apartment, nice wife, nice car, nice everything. Aho griha chetra sutapta vitair. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.8. Then to maintain all this, we must have money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. We need money, right? So then we must have money. Money, 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 sweeter than honey. In this way, our attachment increases, Therefore, the first education is the students, to teach them to be brahmacharya. Brahmachari means don't be attached. If you can, you avoid all this nonsense. That is brahmachari life. Try to avoid. Better. If not, enter. Then, after some times, vanaprastha. So, in other words, he's saying, look, the first education for kids should be celibacy. Well, they're already they're already celibate, but as they get older, the whole, pressure is to break that celibacy. But if they can keep that celibacy right up to the point where they get married, then they can go through married life much easier and follow the rules and regulations of spiritual life. The wife is brahmacharini. There's no such thing as brahmacharini in Vedic life, but Prabhupada gave that status to women in ISKCON. They can become brahmacharinis. They can also be taught the values of chastity. And therefore, if a chaste man marries a chaste woman, and they both make a decision to follow Krishna consciousness, that is a perfect marriage, because they will not commit any sinful activity throughout their marriage in the form of illicit activities, and they will have both the same goal. Why is there divorce? The wife has a different opinion than the husband, or the husband has a different opinion than the wife. Eventually it ends up in divorce. Right? But if they both have the same purpose in life, to please Krishna, that's ideal married life. It doesn't matter if you have a couple like that. It doesn't matter if they take sannyas or not, because they're already sannyasis. They're living a sannyasi life by following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. So that is the ideal marriage. We're not against marriage. We're against nonsense in marriage. That's what we're against. We want ideal marriages where the husband and wife engage both in Krishna consciousness, and they teach their kids also to be Krishna conscious, and they don't let their kids be contaminated by the demons. So that's a great effort. It's not easy to do that, because nowadays you have so many instruments that the demons have control of to contaminate your children. Cell phones, internet, movies, books, schools. They're all places of contamination, so that you will not be Krishna conscious. You'll be a consumer. You'll eat, sleep, mate, and defend, and you'll work really hard to make as much money as you can, to eat more, sleep more, defend more, and basically die more. Right. So that is. So we'll stop right there because it's getting a little late. So we'll continue this tomorrow. There's a lot more to hear about this. Are there any questions? Okay, we have the equal opportunity microphone ready, and she has a question. What? Why? Oh, yeah.
It gets swept.
Oh, how did that happen? Wow. Okay, thank you. Okay, give it to her. Hey, it's stuck here. Everybody in this temple likes to mess things up. We go to big efforts to make everything functional, and they come and mess it all up. Same thing in the kitchen. Every day I have to spend at least a half an hour arranging all the pots and pans and the knives and the spoons because nobody follows any rules. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. This is a question from yesterday's class. When we were talking about passion, devotees are also in the mode of passion. At least they should come to the mode.
Well, let me ask you a question.
So, question is how
are
to.
you sometimes in a mode of passion?
How to ensure
and I want
that.
you to answer the question first. Are you sometimes in a mode of passion?
Yes.
In one day, how much of the day are you in the mode of passion? How many hours?
Most of the time.
Huh?
Most of the time.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and ask your question.
I think I got my answer.
What?
I think I got my answer.
You forgot what the question is? Oh, you got your answer. Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Any other questions?
So how do we ensure that we can, when we are doing service or anything,
What? How the what?
when we are doing service for Krishna, it is in the mode of goodness or purity and not in mode of passion?
You don't get into arguments. You stay humble and without any false pride and false ego. And the main thing is you don't get into any arguments with anybody. Right? Prabhupada said Western people have two diseases. They can't stop having illicit sex, and they love to argue. So these are the two diseases of the Western people. So when you get Western education, you learn to not be able to control yourself and always argue. Yeah. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but
Yeah, go ahead.
so you're reading about Prabhupada's conversation, and then the teacher, if he's like,
He's a scientist.
yeah, he's talking about a scientist and teacher. He's not a
He
teacher.
says, I don't know.
Yeah, if you don't know, he's not a teacher. So I just realized that when you're talking about that, it's a matter of if you deviate as a teacher, you become a cheater, right? So it's the spelling itself.
Not if you deviate. If you don't know, you're a rascal. So how can he know something about the spiritual world? He doesn't even believe it exists. All the knowledge is there in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They won't go there. See, they love to speculate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you send your kid to a speculator, then if they end up, confused, it's your fault. It's not their fault. You sent them there. Okay. And they're all speculators. They don't know. They don't know anything about what happens after death. They don't know anything about the spiritual world. They don't know anything about God. They don't even talk about God. Right? If you start talking about God in class, so we're not allowed to speak about God in the class. Did that happen in your class? Did it ever happen to you in your class? Somebody wanted to speak about, boy, I tell you, you guys are really trained. Nowadays, they really got the kids trained. You're not allowed to speak about God in class.
So my point is like the only difference between teacher and cheater is matter of just shuffling a few letters. So it's
What?
like that.
I don't.
Shuffling
you're
of
mumbling. You're mumbling. Speak slowly and don't keep laughing because I can't hear what you're saying. Go ahead.
So I was saying the difference between teacher and cheater is just matter of shuffling few letters. So yeah,
The cheater doesn't know. So they teach you, this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, they know that. But what is the purpose of life? They don't know. They'll say, well, you should get a good education, and get a good job, and make good money, and get a good husband or a good wife, have nice children, and then get good Medicare, Medicaid. You need that, So, and then you get the hospital. You get the best radiation, best chemotherapy, right. And then you can get the best wine and the best meat, right. And you can pass the best stool. It's all nonsense. It's not life. It's animal life. It's not what real life is. And you can work really hard and get, just like one of our devotees said, just had a stroke and a heart attack. Why? Because he's in anxiety. You're not meant to be in anxiety. That means you're doing things the wrong way. That's why you're in anxiety. Okay, so any other questions? Yes.
So Maharaj, you mentioned about.
You next.
Oh.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
So if we teach our kids at home about Krishna consciousness, and as long as they can remain aloof like a drop of water on a lotus leaf, and going to a public school.
Yeah, but you're not going to spend the same amount of time at home that educating them like that. The school has your kids in prime time for at least 6 to 8 hours. You only have maybe 1 hour free at night to educate your kid because you're working. I think your wife also works, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't have the time because you got to cook, you got to clean, and do this and do that, and you don't have the time to spend to offset the 6 or 8 hours of indoctrination with nonsense that they're getting in school. You don't have the time, nor the energy.
So Maharaj,
So one of you has to decide not to work, and that's, a decision you have to make, to take care of the education of the kid or kids. And most people refuse to do that nowadays. Kids before, they didn't go to schools. They were educated. If their parents were had an art, or a profession, like someone is a carver, a wood carver, and someone is a farmer, and someone is has a shop and a business. So the kids would be trained to do that. Is that right? Yeah, the kids would be trained by the parents to do what the parents were doing. Work.
In our village, Maharaj, it is possible to raise the kids without sending to school because the social system is like farming.
But you're not in your village anymore. You left the village because you went to college and learned the chemistry, right, and hard science. You're not. I don't see you. Are you in the village? I mean, we have villages here. I don't see you in one of our villages. We have a village here also. You can have that life here also. Nobody wants it anymore. They all want to get, $180,000 starting salary, in the Amazon, right? They've all been poisoned by money, 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 money. We're chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's money, 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 money. They have a mantra also. Money, 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 money. It's ruining people's life. Go ahead.
So
you don't have the time, nor you do have the energy to educate the kid as many hours as they're being indoctrinated in the schools.
So Maharaj, that means we need a favorable situation to develop.
What?
So we need to create a favorable situation to develop.
One of
Krishna
you has
consciousness.
to decide not to work. Just take care of the kid's education.
Thank you, Maharaj.
That means you have to work harder.
Yeah.
So your wife can quit her job and get really good at educating the kid. You would be much happier if that would happen. But it's a sacrifice. Sacrifice what? Money, 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 money. You're going to make less money, but you're going to have more time with your kids or kid. Okay, we'll stop right there. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, now who's going to chant? Anybody want to chant? Anybody? Ladies?
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Himala Bhakati Sadma
Bando Moyi Savadana Mate
Domui Sabadana Mate
Panjahara Prasade Pai E Bhava Toriya Jai
Janara Prasade Bai E Bhava Toriya Jai
Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te
Krishna Bhakti Oya Oite
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Jite Te Koriya Kya
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Kya
Harana Kori Ho Mane Asha
Arana Koriya Mane Asa
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati
Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha
ये प्रसादे पूरे सर्वासा
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिल जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
दिव्य ज्ञान दे प्रकाशित
प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
प्रेम भक्ति होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
वेद गाय जहाँ रचरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु
लोके नाथ लोके जीवाना
लोके जीवाना
हा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पाद छाया
प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पाद छाया
ए विजास कुशुक्ति भुवाना
ए व्यास कुशुक्ति भुवाना
प्रभु पाद पतित भवाना
प्रभु पाद पतित भवाना
जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद
जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद
नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रसाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने
विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रसाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाणी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajagachara Astatara Satara Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shikoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Samkunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Mani Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Patita Bhavani Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Guruvani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Praskatya Desatani Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Rama Rama Hare. Was the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. May I only wish to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth.
Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character.
Our
Ritual
spirituality
master.
is the ocean most
mercy, friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Please give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
We take
Shelter
shelter
of
of
your
your
lotus
lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanandi Haribo Haribo. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutami Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Guruvani Pracharine. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskati